here's something that you didn't know. 2 of those special atomic bombs haven't gone off.
Welcome back, loyal viewers. Welcome to week 2 recap. We are Fantasy CTE. My name is Nick Masick. You also have Lonnie Cox and Vital the Juiced. Week 2 is not in the books, man. We got 2 more huge games tonight. We got big stuff tonight for these Monday night doubleheader. Fired up about the Monday night doubleheader. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about. But the first thing before we do anything else, for anybody who is watching who hasn't heard already, Gabe Davis is inactive tonight. He has been declared out by the Buffalo Bills. So if you had him in your fantasy lineup, if you were waiting on him, pull him out of your lineup. Make sure you go make that adjustment now. The game starts at 7:15. That is the only major thing that's happening. Welcome back, guys. Lonnie, you ready to kick us off? We got a lot of stuff to talk about, but let's start off the way we're going to start off every show this year, with why your team sucks. Lonnie, take it away.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here. And the team we're going to be talking about, why does your team suck? Baltimore. What the hell was that? 28-7. You were cruising. I turned off the game. Most Baltimore fans, I'm sure, were ready to get drunk and punch a cop after that game in celebration. Baltimore, what a great city of drunkenness and crabs. You were ready to celebrate another win. The Dolphins in the first and second quarters looked like the Miami Dolphins. They came back and scored 28 points in the fourth quarter. In the last 22 minutes of the game, you give up a bomb to Tyreek Hill. You're thinking, okay, you're going to put the clamps down on defense. The next drive, you give up a bomb to Tyreek Hill. Tua Tagovailoa, or however you pronounce your name, looked like Peyton Manning on what was the number 1 overall defense in the NFL last year. Baltimore, what the fuck are you doing? You had the highest scoring fantasy player in the week on your team, and you still lost. He threw for 300 yards. He ran for another 100 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air and another one on the ground, and you lose the game to the Miami Dolphins. That's why your team sucks. I still like Baltimore to win that division. I think they're going to come back. I think they're going to pull around together. Let's be honest. They win that game versus probably 28 teams in the NFL. Last week, there's not many teams that beat the Baltimore Ravens, I think, yesterday, besides the Miami Dolphins. If you are a Miami fan, like Vital down there, I think you're very happy with what you saw yesterday. Listen, I liked it. I was very impressed. It was a great game to watch. How long, Vital? Our entire lives, I think, honestly, even since Dan Marino, and even during Dan Marino's era, when you were down 28-7, you turn that game off. You see what the Cleveland Browns are up to on Fox. You turn that game off, you go away. Yesterday was probably the first time in 32 years of living in Miami that a Miami Dolphins game was exciting. It was a good game.
No, I will say this, though. Did you watch the game, dude?
I watched, I'll tell you what, I watched up to 28-7, then I turned it off. I left. Stopped watching it.
Even before that, the big problems were just like minor defensive things that caused us big. It wasn't like they were able to move the ball consistently. It would just all of a sudden the defense would make a huge error that would cost us a TD. So as soon as they clamped up on that in that fourth quarter, they dialed in.
No, they made adjustments at halftime. You got to love McDaniels as a coach. You got to love Tua. Tua had a great game, the game of his career, obviously. We'll see what the consistency is like. But Miami Dolphins fans, I mean, everyone is talking about it today. Everyone at my office, I'm sure everybody everywhere is kind of talking about the Dolphins.
Yeah, what got everyone involved, dude. It was fantastic, dude. Edmonds,
Mostert, everyone has the greatest celebration probably in the history of the NFL, besides Deion Sanders with the high step. The Waddle, I mean,
The Waddles. It was so funny.
Waddle
Curses.
is
It's so good.
I love Waddle,
elite,
but
elite.
that ain't it. I even already feel him already not wanting to do it after he does a TD now. I see it in him. Like, he's like,
He has
this
to.
again.
He has to, and he's going to score so many more TDs too. I
Yeah,
mean,
he's
that offense-
cursed to his dance now.
It's great. It is good.
And
Oh,
Vital needs what? You need 80 points from from two players, Adam Thielen, Josh Allen. You need 80.
I'm gonna
Listen,
think.
Maybe if
you
you
just
would
had
have,
to take
if I would have
the
accepted
wind out
that
of my sails for
ridiculous
today.
trade offer that you sent me after, maybe you would have need to slip me a couple roofies for me to accept that trade offer.
That wasn't a bad trade offer.
What was the offer? What was the trade offer? I gotta hear this.
It was Gesicki and Henderson for Everett, and who was the running back?
Jamal Williams or Javonte Williams. I gave you my RB1 for yours, or my RB2.
Wait, Javonte Williams and
No, it was not Javonte Williams.
Was that not it? Oh, sorry, maybe it was Kareem Hunt.
No, it was not Kareem Hunt. Don't lie.
Who
to
else
the
do
good
I
people.
have?
I don't know, man. And right now, I mean, Gesicki did score a touchdown, but everybody scored a touchdown
It
yesterday.
was not Javonte Williams. It was, I'll tell you right now. It was
Good.
JD McKissick.
Oh yeah, no, that's not. That's not.
Don't lie to the
Oh.
good people and tell them
JD
you flaunted
McKissick,
Kareem
he's not
Hunt
bad
and
either. He got
Javonte
13
Williams in my
I
face.
don't. You know what? I don't think that's that terrible of a trade offer. After seeing what Henderson did yesterday and the fact that Akers was more involved, we may have seen the highest volume Henderson's going to get this season. I don't know. That's probably going to be a pretty balanced backfield, but McKissick gets it's PPR.
Yeah,
McKissick's
JD
gonna
got
score.
13 yesterday.
Yeah, he's probably going to be a 13 guy every week, pretty consistently.
All right.
That was a
Maybe it wasn't as
decent
bad
trade,
as I
Lonnie. Why you
thought it
hating?
was, but
Gerald Everett also played well. And going into this week, we thought Gesicki was going to get no catches. He just happened to have a really big game
Incredible.
yesterday. Pretty good game. So I don't know. I don't think that going into this week, I don't think that trade offer looked that bad. And really even coming out of it, that seems pretty reasonable. I don't think that's
all right. Maybe that's fair. I apologize.
I like Gerald Everett going into next week. I would have probably tried to jump on that because of Gerald Everett, maybe, but you are thin at running.
I don't need another tight end.
You needed a tight end.
I have Tyler Higbee.
No, he
You
has
did-
Higbee.
You'd have Higbee, and that's pretty. Yeah, so because you got Higbee, I wouldn't have probably done it. So that's good. Dude, you said everybody got involved though, Vital. Chase Edmonds did not get involved, dude. Chase Edmonds let me down in a big way.
Yeah, but he caught in the play. He caught one really big catch when we needed it.
Right,
I think
it
we
was-
were like third and like 16 or something. Really needed
Yeah,
it.
I mean, as a player, he contributed to the win in a meaningful way. He was clutch, but from a fantasy perspective, it was not good from Chase Edmonds. Dude, it looks like they're going to use Mostert a lot more.
Yeah, man, he's fast, man. If he
I
catches
know.
a ball, dude, he's gone.
He's super fast. The problem has always been his durability. And I think we'll see it balance out between the two of them, maybe because of the different skill sets and also the concern about Mostert's durability. Mike McDaniel knows as well as anybody that
makes sense. Just used to's working, man. I have no loyalty to either of them. No offense. I love you both.
Yeah. I think they're probably going to be both pretty good, but I'm a little concerned about Chase Edmonds in my backfield now. How about all right, so arguably a bigger deal. Now the Dolphins win was a huge deal, but people had very high expectations of the Dolphins this year. Tua did look, by the way, kind of like a young Russ, that was one of the things we talked about in the last couple of years. Can he be poor man's Russell
Dude,
Wilson?
he was so good at not forcing it. That's what I always said about. In the beginning, he did that a couple times, tried to force it to Tariq, but after that, he just went through his progressions.
Yeah. And it's going to be just impossible to cover Waddle and Hill. Like it's just it's not going to happen. Their teams are going to be, that's a nightmare. That's a matchup nightmare.
Game when you've been chasing them all around. It's so hard to run backwards. Even if it's half the time, people don't get that. You get gassed.
And then you send Raheem Mostert like a fucking comet up the middle. Like, I mean, it's just on a soft front. Like that's asking for trouble. Big plays.
Cedric Wilson and Mike Gesicki and,
We're both really fast for their position. Like Gesicki is an incredibly good athlete.
The Dolphins have the fastest offense in football. I don't think it's close.
No, without a doubt. It's not even close. It isn't.
We deserve this.
Yeah. So arguably because of that, I would say like the comeback was big, but the win was not as surprising. Like a lot of people kind of expected the Dolphins to at least have a really close game against the Ravens and probably even beat them. I want to say they were favored. So the win was not as big a deal as the comeback. It was more getting down was the big surprise. The biggest deal yesterday, I think, was the Jags pitching a shutout on the Colts, 24-0. Now the Jags have won 7 in a row at home against the Colts. But a lot of people pick this Colts team to be like kind of a sleeper pick, maybe Super Bowl, they were thinking. You got Jonathan Taylor, who people are really high on, Matt Ryan coming in. And I know Michael Pittman, their number one receiver, was out, but they got blanked by the Jags, 24-0. Are you more, is this a bigger deal for the Jags than it is for the Colts, or what? What do we think?
They still might be a Super Bowl pick, dude. I just think the Jags have their number. I don't know what it is, dude. I see this all the time with them. We're shaking your head, man. I think they still have loaded. They have a lot of talent, solid defense, and like, why not? They're in a division they could do it, I think.
Yeah.
They just took is that they do not have a quarterback, I think, that is going to push them past the level that they've been at the last couple of years. I think you're looking at a 10-7 team, an 11-6 team, which is what they've been at. They've been the last couple of years. Now, is that a bad team? Absolutely not. That's a good team. But does that push them past the Chiefs? Does that push them past the Bills? Does that push them past the great teams in the NFL right now? I don't think so.
Yeah, Baltimore, you got the Raiders now sitting at 0-2 that I think would mop the floor with the Colts most days of the week. You know, I think they're in trouble. I really do. Like, I think the Jags have a very legitimate shot at winning that division right now. I mean, Lawrence is playing well. Christian Kirk looks like a legit number one. He kind of reminds me of DJ Moore. The way that they're using him, running him all over the field, catch and run stuff. He was a monster yesterday. And for the second week in a row, Christian Kirk played really well. They got a two-headed backfield that looks unstoppable. I mean, I know it's 2 games in, but like James Robinson, Travis Etienne, both look really good. And then you got fast skill players all over the field. There are other who they have. They have 2 tight ends that are both great at catching. They have Evan Ingram and Dan Arnold that both got in on the action yesterday. Who are their other receivers that they've picked up? Marvin Jones Jr. You've got guys on that team.
I feel like you guys are on some week 2 hype right now. I think that the Colts and the Titans will be on top of the division like every year. And then the Jags.
I'm not saying that the Jaguars are going to win the division. I think it's way too early to talk about that.
I picked them to take second in the division, and I actually feel pretty good about that right now. We'll see how Tennessee looks against the Bills, but the Jaguars also, and this is, again, yes, they have their number at home, the Colts, but the Colts also play in a much different environment, and that might have something to do with it too. You know, the Colts play in a dome, whereas Jacksonville plays outdoors on a grass field in Jacksonville, which is hot as balls. I didn't see what the weather was yesterday, but it can't be, it doesn't feel comfortable probably for the Colts going in there and playing, aside from just the regular hostility of like a division rival. So,
and plus now it's like
I'm still confident. I think you'll see the Colts at the top of the division by the end of the year, Titans at number 2, Jaguars at number 3, but I'm not ready to move that quite yet. But I would definitely start to wonder. Remember, this is the Matt Ryan era. I mean, look at Russell Wilson with the Broncos. Like, that's a great quarterback with a great receiving core, and they have not figured it out yet. It takes a while, maybe around week 6. Then I would start to hit the panic button on the Matt Ryan experiment. I'm not quite ready to do that yet. But I would say that the Colts, like what Vitel's saying is true. Like, the Colts are a good team. They're not a bad team. They have a very good offensive line. They have the best running back in football, arguably. Great receivers. Michael Pittman was out. Who knows? That's a game-breaking matchup breaker.
Yeah,
Michael Pittman,
that's a big deal.
The entire game.
It definitely would change things. I still think the Jags probably would have won that game, but Michael Pittman was a big deal, and he is a big deal for them. So, yeah, don't want to discount that. I feel good. I'll say this. I feel good about my Jags coming in at second pick right now. We'll see what the Titans look like, but I really like their coaching too. I like their coaching staff in Jacksonville. What's his name? Doug Peterson. I like what I think he's a winner. He's a proven winner. And I think what he's going to do with that team is going to be good. It's going to be a very positive year. I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but I do think they're going to push the Colts for the division at least. A couple things break their way, they could take it. Impressive nonetheless. Are we pushing the panic button on the Bengals yet? 0-2 start. Look pretty bad against the Cowboys.
I think they're going to regress, but I'm not going to panic. I think that, again, they're going to be a good team, but I don't think they're going to get past maybe the first or second round of the playoffs this year.
Do you think they're going to make the playoffs this year? Yeah. Lonnie, how are you feeling about the Bengals' chances of making the playoffs? They just lost to two not great teams. I mean, let's be honest. The Cowboys' defense looks good. They look legit. But
Cowboys defense looks. I mean, you're looking at. I mean, arguably, I think we're all feeling pretty good about Micah Parsons winning Defensive Player of the Year again. This year, I think
first time. Yeah,
he's on pace for like 26 sacks or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially with the TJ Watt injury. He was my pick, and I was on the fence between him and Parsons to begin with. So, yeah.
So there's this new Pro Football Focus like measurement that they do, which is called rush win rate, and he's at 54% of what's called a pass rush win rate, which is means that 1 out of every 2 times he's beating the offensive lineman. I remember when I played football, they would think you would talk about like maybe 1 out of every 15 times, and you would be if you could do that, you were an elite pass rusher in the NFL. Like if you were one of those guys. But 1 out of every 2, I mean, you're looking at somebody that can and will change games.
Yeah,
basically
is changing games. Is absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, he also went up against 2 offensive lines that were pretty holy and not really all there yet.
Sure,
in Tampa and Cincinnati.
But if you look at that, Nick, I would say the opposite is true. In terms of there's not many teams in the NFL at this stage in this stage in the season that have an offensive line that is together unless they've been playing together for many years. So I think you have a couple of those like Detroit. Supposedly their offensive line is one of the best in football this year.
Looks good. Yeah.
Cleveland, I believe, always has had a pretty substantially good offensive line. But yeah, a lot of teams around the league are in this shuffle mode.
Right.
So I don't think a lot of teams in the league have good offensive lines at the moment.
That's a good point. Yeah. No, he's gonna eat all season long, it looks like. I like it. So, but the Bengals, how we think they're gonna bounce back? They do need to address some. I mean, you gotta hope that the line gels, but they looked out of sorts yesterday.
I would expect them to. They've got Karras. Karras came over from God, I want to say Cleveland or somebody like that, but their new center is great. And, when you have a center quarterback connection is very important. That's the most important, arguably the most important position on the field.
Sure.
It's your center.
Yeah.
So when you have that, I'm not hitting the panic button yet. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not how their season started last year? Maybe not 0-2, but I don't remember us ever thinking that the Bengals were really good. Oh no, I think they did very well week 1.
Yeah. I saw a bad stat the other day.
Yeah, the 0-2 teams.
No 0-2 teams made the playoffs in like 10 years or something. It's been a while since an 0-2 team made the playoffs. So this year could be the year. I think certainly with the Bengals starting 0-2 and the Raiders starting 0-2, those are both teams that I expect to be in the mix for the wild card come playoff time. And they have more time to make up for it as well with 1 extra game. So that extra game could be the difference in these 0-2 starts. You brought up the Lions and their offensive line. The Lions went bananas yesterday. Amon-Ra St. Brown looks like I said it actually earlier in the game as I was watching. I was like, he looks like Cooper Kupp a couple years ago. He looks like that kind of guy. Dude, he went crazy and the Lions look good. I mean, good. They look
talk about the GOAT now. No.
Are we talking Jared Goff? Is that who you're referring to? Is that the guy?
Act like you know.
Dude, I never shit on Goff. I was
what?
I did not shit. You're talking about Lonnie.
I shit on Goff.
Lonnie shit on Goff. Right. Way more. I always thought he was pretty good, dude. He got to a Super Bowl. I mean, like he got to a Super Bowl. He was part of one of the greatest games ever played. Like the guy knows how to run an offense. And now he's got some weapons that are legit, like scary. Again, another backfield where those guys both are good and different. Swift.
I hope the league's ready for his revenge tour.
They're getting it. I think they're getting it this year, man. I'm excited. I'm excited about the Lions maybe making the playoffs. I think this team looks good. They look, I know Green Bay looked pretty good against the Bears, but and we'll see about the Vikings tonight. We're gonna get picks on that coming up soon. But the Lions look good. I like the Lions. I like when the Lions are playing well. It's good for the league. Doesn't happen.
It is good for the league. I'm just happy to see them. Did you guys watch Hard Knocks this year?
No, I didn't. I mean, I caught bits and pieces of it, but
yeah,
I'm very happy to see them doing well.
Yeah, it's a team you want to root for. You like those guys. They're all, likable guys, and their defense looks pretty tough too. Aiden Hutchinson looks real. He looks like legit.
So one of the best parts of Hard Knocks is they have this little Hispanic linebacker from Oklahoma State. He's a 6th round pick, and I'm sure you guys have watched Hard Knocks before. So they always kind of pick out these guys that are on the cusp.
Yeah.
And they pick him out early on in the season, but very early on in the season is when early on in training camp, he really starts to progress. And now he's the starting linebacker for the Detroit Lions, a 6th round pick from Oklahoma State. His name is in the show they call him Rodrigo. His last name is Rodriguez. I think it's Orlando or something like that. But he is really fun to watch. He's a short guy. He's like 6 foot, 6'1", but he was a wrestler at Oklahoma State. There's a great. I'll send it to you both if you guys want to look it up. It's Rodrigo versus Jason Kelsey. Hip checks one of the best centers in football last week. It was a great clip.
Nice. I like that.
That reminds me of what's his name who tackled Travis Kelsey last week.
Yes,
he was also a wrestler, dude. That was like a perfect double leg to a single. It was so
Derwin
good.
James is
the
quietest, best safety in football. He is so good. He reminds me a lot of Sean Taylor.
Yeah. We talk about that game. I was going to bring up the Chiefs Chargers. Last Thursday, I know it seems like so long ago, was a great game. Dude, the Chargers just had every chance to win that game, I felt like, and gave it away. It was...
If only they would have had the Samoan sniper there.
The Samoan sniper.
I'm just saying, one of them gets it done. The other one throws an interception.
And listen, let's not pretend that the Chargers without Keenan Allen have, like, their receiving core is not even close to what Miami has. Nobody is, I don't think, at all. But come on, I mean, they still did pretty well. It was just one of those things. It was like you're watching the Chargers just still be the Chargers, and you thought they weren't going to be the Chargers anymore. Like even the first half of that game, you're like, oh, they're not the Chargers anymore. They're going to beat the Chiefs this game. It looked like they were going to beat the Chiefs, and then it just kind of fell apart.
What's funny is that the Chargers and the Cowboys have a very similar vibe. Like they've always kind of been similar in their projections. Like they're really talented.
Right.
But they just can never quite get over the hump ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They've had a bunch of number 1 seeds that got knocked out in the first round. Absolutely. Yeah. The Chargers are the AFC Cowboys.
Oh, I mean, how many years did the Chargers go 13-3, 14-2 with LaDainian Tomlinson, Phillip Rivers, Chris Chambers, Antonio Gates? They were solid.
They were so good. I mean, they were the best team in football a couple of years, really. Yes. And they just got knocked out. There's the Colts and the Patriots just kept knocking them out of the playoffs.
Tom Brady every year.
Tom Brady, Peyton Manning a couple times too, I think, did it to him. So yeah. But I really thought they were going to turn it around, turn a corner this year, and I thought that was going to start on Thursday night, and it didn't. It was still very
early season though. Early season. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, that was like a few little things though. It looks like they got their kicking game sorted out, so that's good for them. That's been a thorn in their side for a decade, I think. How about Garrett Wilson with the Jets? Jets had a big comeback, which was overshadowed.
Joe Flacco. Of course. I got to pick people for the worst quarterback.
Dude,
And
Yo.
it's like it's 2011 and he's playing for Baltimore again.
He
Both
was
are.
prime time, dude. He was feeling himself.
he was smoking Joe Flacco.
There were nice throws too, dude. Like,
Yeah, he was dropping dimes. I think their offensive line's actually pretty good, maybe. Because
Probably.
he's a statue back there these days, and they just gave him time to sling it. He still got the arm. But Garrett Wilson, wow, man, he went crazy. He's going to make a case for offensive rookie of the year. He already is. Dude, he went bonkers. What I saw a comparison to him. I saw a Justin Jefferson comparison to him. And he looked kind of like he might be one of those guys. Everybody preseason was thinking Elijah Moore was going to be their number one guy. Now it looks like, Wilson just went with the two of those guys. You're looking at a pretty, and then you also throw in Corey Davis and a couple of Braxton Berrios. The Jets receivers look tough, and their running backs are young and fast. So those skill position guys in New York look pretty dangerous, pretty scary. I
think all are so talented, and I want to believe that they're going to do well. But then again, it's New York, and I feel like this is a flash in the pan because it's the fucking Jets.
I just think it's you have to have decent quarterback play. And I know they got that yesterday from Flacco, but they're going to put Wilson consistent. And also, are they going to put Wilson back in? If Flacco's winning a couple games here, and I know it's the Browns and they have their backup quarterback, but the Browns defense is supposed to be good. So
yeah, but let's not forget that the Browns should have won that game, right? Did you guys see what happened? That Nick Chubb should have gone down. Yes. They were up by 14 points with 1:55 left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
The Browns lost that game way more than the Jets won it, I would say.
That's true. But they still had to make plays against the Browns defense, and they did it.
They did.
When they had the opportunity. So, for sure. Do we think, is Flacco going to create any doubt about Zach Wilson coming back? I think you got to throw Wilson in there, right?
Yeah, because your first round pick was the number 2 overall pick, and you're paying him money, and you got to see what you got. His friends' moms.
Yeah, use him while you can.
Yeah, I think they have to throw him back in there. But Flacco, you got one game of vintage Flacco. It was fun to watch. The Giants are, speaking of New York teams that suck. The Giants are 2-0. This is more of a fluke and bad teams. They beat the Titans, and then yesterday.
Is this the worst 2-0 team in the last?
Yeah, dude, that's a crazy
years?
game.
Probably, right?
Off the field goals last week.
Yeah, it was pretty ugly. Who did they beat again? I forget. Who did the Giants beat?
The Panthers.
Panthers, right? Also not a good team. I don't think the Panthers are very good, or the Titans. So I'm not that excited. Daniel Jones looks okay. He looks playable in fantasy, actually. If you're desperate for a quarterback or super flex, definitely he's playable. But yeah, we're not excited about the Giants at 2-0. We think they're going to become the Giants again.
Yeah, their record looks like they're going to get beat up soon.
Yeah.
I think that I read somewhere this is the first week in almost 15 years that the Giants, the Jets, the Mets, and the Yankees all won on the same day.
That's crazy. That's pretty wild. So yeah, we're not getting ahead of ourselves.
Fuck the Mets, fuck the Jets.
How about the Cardinals comeback? The Cardinals comeback was unreal.
I thought that game was done, dude. I don't know.
Oh, I really thought that game was done. Dude, was it the touchdown or the 2-point conversion? Kyler Murray threaded the needle. It was one of the nicest throws I saw all day. It was absolutely insane.
He was breaking tackles like a video game.
Oh,
you had him, dude.
It was crazy. It was wild. It was so fun.
Quote of the week is that Tyler Murray runs like a toddler that stole your iPhone.
So good. Oh God, that was good. But dude, he hit AJ Green on the back end line. I think it was for the touchdown because he ran it. Did he run it in for the 2-point conversion? I forget.
He ran 85 yards.
Oh,
2-point conversion. What a play that was.
Insane. That was the longest play. It was, what was it? 20 seconds?
21 seconds.
So nuts. God, that was a good one. And again, not panicking on the Raiders at 0-2. They've lost. That was a heartbreaker, and it took spectacular Kyler Murray Superman plays to beat them in Arizona. Or no, it was in Vegas. It was in Vegas. And then the week before, The Raiders lost a close one to the Chargers. So those are pretty quality teams. I think the Raiders are still going to be okay. I think they're going to bounce back and they'll be in the mix. But man, big win for the Cardinals. They needed a bounce. That was for them to avoid 0-2. That was a big one.
Are Cardinals fans, are you worried about the Marquise Brown trade, though? That's a question.
What do you mean?
He has not shown up yet.
I wouldn't be too worried about it yet. I think he's got history with Kyler Murray, right? That's that college connection we talked about. I think they'll be okay. I think Hopkins is going to help once Hopkins comes back. Again, you look at, and Rondale Moore, you got to remember, 2 of their top wide receivers are not in the game. So that creates a lot more focus. They're able to focus on the guys that they're worried about a lot more when there's not as many people they can spread it around to. I wouldn't panic about Marquise Brown yet. No. Fatal, you got any different thoughts? You agree?
No, I agree.
Yeah.
No stress it.
Yeah, I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be pretty good. I think when DeAndre Hopkins comes back, they could be very good. Yeah.
Kyler Murray, he was having me a little worried because of the talk in the offseason about his work ethic, but I mean, he's clutch, dude.
Yeah.
He just comes through.
Yeah, they paid him. You saw why they paid him yesterday. That's exactly what they paid him to do.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always been fun to watch.
He's so fun. Yeah. I still don't think they're going to be the best team this year overall, but I think they're going to be in a lot of exciting games. They're going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, they had a great record last season, right? Did they only drop 2 or whatever?
No, I think they won like 10. They got it. They backed into the playoffs. They lost 3 in a row.
But they started out super hot. I think they were 4-0, 5-0, something like that. They were real strong to come out.
I think they were 7 or 8-1, actually.
Something like that.
In the beginning.
And then they just had an epic collapse at the end of the year.
Yeah, it was not good. I think they lost 3 games going into the playoffs. They got beat badly by the Rams, which doesn't look that bad at this point, but they got beat badly by the Rams in one of the first games, I think in the first round. Let's see what else. Mike Evans, Marshawn Lattimore, another good fight between those guys. It's always good to see. Evans is suspended though next week, so that's not good for your fantasy lineups. I know. Who'd you pick in a fight, Mike Evans or Marshawn Lattimore? if we're picking a fight, those guys are both big bad dudes. They're both big, they're both fast, they're both strong. Who do you think?
Going with Marshawn.
You'd go Marshawn in that fight? You just
I'm going with Evans.
You're going with Evans?
The thing about it is the guys on defense, they have a little bit of a different mentality when it comes to just life.
They're just like, yeah.
I agree with you.
He's not a typical cornerback either. He's not one of those corners you can bowl over and bully. And Mike Evans does like to bully cornerbacks. And I think that's one of the things Marshawn likes. One of the reasons he likes to stand up to him. He's like, you're not going to bully me. This is, I'm here. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. So that was a pretty big fight. That was good. Not big news, but Brady and the Bucks finally beat the Saints, which he hadn't done before, I don't think so. But nobody really expected that to last. I feel like those were kind of fluky games to begin with. Russell Wilson doesn't look good in Denver. I know they got the win, but dude, he has steadily declined for the last 4 or 5 years, I feel like. He had good receiving, good skill players in Seattle. He's got good skill players in Denver. He does not look very good. He's slowly, gradually. We remember the Russ of old, but I just don't think he's the same guy anymore. How do you guys feel about this? Are you ready
to make that assessment? Yeah, I would say the last couple of years in Seattle, it's like, what are you gauging it on? Because Russell Wilson will show you Russell Wilson almost every year. Like, he will show you moments. I mean, if I recall correctly, 2 years ago, we were talking about him in the first 4 weeks of the season as a possible MVP candidate, I believe, on this podcast.
Yes, we were.
That tells me that that's probably not him. It's probably an atrocious offensive line, which he has dealt with since they went to the Super Bowl. That with the years that they went to the Super Bowl, they had the best offensive line in football. Then money started getting changed around. They started losing guys. They have never been able to put an offensive line around him.
Right.
Then for the last, I believe, 3 years or so, they've had a defense that ranks in the bottom 8
third.
in
Yeah.
defenses. I mean, last year with Jamal Adams, they were like, I believe they were 31st in 32 out of 32 teams in total defense. Awful. Just
Yeah, it was not good.
atrocious Seattle Seahawks teams that he's been on. And still decent. Now, this new coach in Denver is a joke. I think he does not know what he's doing. I think you're going to see him maybe not even make it through the season at this rate. He could change it around, but he is just awful. Did you see the last week, the 4th and 5?
Yeah, he doesn't look like he knows. He doesn't look like a professional football coach.
You know, I read something interesting.
Ah.
So this has happened to me once. So my high school football coach, he did not know, literally, he was a smart guy. He had played in the NFL. He did not know that you couldn't run a halfback draw on 3rd and 14. He just like didn't know that wouldn't work. All of my friends on the team were like, why are you running this play? And you know what it was, is that we had played Madden our whole lives and we had played NCAA our whole lives. And supposedly they're doing research now that says that there are guys like you, if you've played NCAA, you've played Madden, you have clock management skills that you don't even know,
Right.
that some guys, some coaches have just never had.
Sure.
Because they just don't know certain things, you know.
That's very interesting. I wonder what that's going to look like in the next few years as guys, as the Madden generation starts to ascend in the coaching ranks.
Oh, I think you're already seeing it. You already see the Kyler Murrays, the Lamar Jacksons, the kickers that are 6'4", that are gigantic athletes that are kicking 55-yard field goals like it's nothing.
Didn't the Dallas punter hit the dome last
you saw that?
Yeah.
You're starting to see the Madden generation already take the helm. Look at Mike McDaniels. What's Mike McDaniels? 36?
Yeah, dude.
37,
Yeah,
38, Sean McVay, Cliff Kingsbury. Like you're already starting to see what that looks like.
Yeah. It's going to be very, as they mature even more, it's going to be really interesting to watch that happen. Because clock management is such a huge part of the game. And to know that and understand that aspect of the game innately, and also just like what plays work and what plays don't work, like from a very basic standpoint, from the time you're like 9 years old, these guys know this stuff, right?
Yes.
So by the time they get to a level where they're really processing information on a higher level, all that stuff is just innate. It's like reaction. It's like, oh, we got to challenge this. Oh, we got to call timeout now. Oh, we got to do this now. It's like all those little things that you used to see even guys like Andy Reid early on in his professional coaching career was very criticized for clock management stuff.
Yes.
And he was doing things that like we probably won't ever see a coach do 10 years from now back then.
Right.
Because they'll know just innately, you can't do that. That's not going to work.
And also one thing that I also read about the Russell Wilson thing is he didn't have the power to call that timeout. Supposedly he has not been given the go ahead. Well, what Richard Sherman said is that, and I think this is about Russell Wilson's personality, and you can kind of see, let's be honest, I think one thing we've all seen with Russell Wilson the last year or two is that he is the biggest cornball in the NFL.
Right. We were talking about that earlier.
Just full of cringe. He is the furthest thing from cool you've ever seen in your life. Absolutely. Him giving the press conference in the like tuxedo. He just looked like a fucking idiot. Like he just looked awful. And him being like, well, we really believe in the coach and we really just stick with what the coach has to say. What Richard Sherman says is that Russ's personality would not have called that timeout without the coach's go ahead.
Right.
So you're starting to see that. Now, does he have the arm talent? Does he have the athleticism? I think they're still there. The athleticism, maybe not. Maybe the athleticism has taken a step back.
Yeah, he's not running
the
away.
Arm talent, I think, is still there.
The arm
Elite
talent.
Arm talent.
Sure, yes. I agree with that. But the escapability and the scrambling ability that used to make him special is now dwindled to the point where he might just be average or maybe better than average, but no longer elite, which he used to be. I feel like we used to talk about him as elite. Also, I'd bail on him in fantasy like last week. I mean, like definitely I would not be playing him in fantasy. He has been bad in fantasy for years. So
very inconsistent. He'll have like a streak of games. That's really what it is. Because he's gotten me on that feud. It took me a while to get off the train, but I will never draft him again.
I traded him away in my dynasty league. I think before, like, was it last year? Before last season, and I'm very happy to get out from under him. It was not good. Kyle Pitts is another guy we're panicking on a little bit from fantasy standpoint. We're talking about some fantasy guys. Pitts, 2 weeks in a row, not really much action. And their offense has looked pretty good, but it doesn't seem like it's going through Kyle Pitts. Would you guys be upset if you had drafted Pitts at this point?
Oh, what round was he drafted? Like second?
He was going
First,
high.
second,
Third,
like,
second.
high.
Yeah, high. Fourth, he was gone by the time he got to the fourth round, he was gone.
No, because I think there's still time, right? You don't think?
Is it going to come back around to him, you think? I mean, tight end's just been it's frustrating every year if you don't have Kelsey or Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews.
That's exactly right. This is what I say to people every season is I'm like, there are 2 guys in the league that you reach on for tight end, just like quarterback. Me and Vital got him. If that's not where you're at, do not do it. You know what I mean? Like, don't go to the top for these guys. It's not worth it.
Right. I got Waller in like the 6th, I think.
I like that.
Pretty good.
I like that. I don't hate that.
I liked Waller. I wasn't going to go. I liked Waller more than Kittle this year. And
George Brittle.
George Brittle. Yeah, exactly. Waller's been pretty good. I'm okay with Waller in the middle of the rounds. And Kelsey and
Andrews. It's the same thing with quarterbacks, Nick. It's the same thing. Like you got to think of quarterbacks and tight ends kind of similarly. That there's these tiers. You have the elite tier. There's 2 guys there. Yeah. Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen. There's 2 guys there. Mark Andrews, Kelsey, maybe Waller in that conversation too.
Yeah.
Pitts, every down then, just because how much they throw.
Pitts was supposed to be right. Pitts was supposed to be that guy, though. He was supposed to be in that conversation this year. Do you think by the end of this,
based on what? Based on projections, based on
target share last year? Like,
I don't like that. I never believe that shit. I never believe. I need to see it with my eyes, and then we'll talk about it.
I still think it's time because their team is super shitty right now. And I think maybe if they get a better QB in there and feed him, like something will happen.
Drake London,
but he's got the quarterback he's got. That's my point. It's like, fantasy guys, they love to talk about ceilings and projections and all this shit. And it's like, okay, Kyle Pitts is going at the top of these tight end lists, but based on what? He didn't do shit last year, really. I mean, he had an okay year, but not a Travis Kelce 2nd round fantasy draft year.
No.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, his quarterback is his quarterback. Now, if he was playing in New England, if he was playing in Dallas, if he was playing in, San Francisco, now we're talking about something different, but we're not. We're talking about him where he's at.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't believe it. I need to see it first. Miami, then we'll talk.
Yeah.
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
A decent quarterback, we'll talk, but he's not. He is where he is.
He is where he is. He's supposed to be the number 1 or 2 option on that team, though. And Drake London looks like he's the number 1. Drake London looked good 2 weeks in a row.
Picked him up, bro.
I know. I think I got him. I got him in one of my leagues. I'm gonna probably have to play him at flex and going forward. How about the Henderson Akers situation with the Rams? Henderson looked like the guy, and now Akers has got some more action. What do we think? I think it's gonna be kind of a split. I think it's gonna be one of those
so too.
Pretty even timeshares. Still both playable. Neither one is going to be elite. They're going to be in flex.
Isn't it strange how much the league parries each other? Like, I feel like that's a lot of backfields now are just going 1-2 backs. And then they even have their wide receivers running those like fucking reverse routes and like catching handoffs now. I see that in like a bunch of them now.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's good to have 2 quality backs that have different running styles because it does confuse the defense. When they're used to seeing one thing the whole day, it becomes just easier to game plan against. Mostert and Edmonds are very different backs. Henderson and Akers are different backs. They have different styles. Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift. AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones. You saw that.
Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams.
Right.
Like
it's
Tony Pollard, Ezekiel Elliott.
Sure. Yeah.
They stack them.
It's good to have. So I think they'll both be productive this year. And again, it's one of those situations like all those other backfields. If one goes out, boy, you better throw that other guy in there. It becomes a must start. Any one of those guys becomes a must start if one guy goes down. So
the NFL is about matchups, man. So we're not in that locker room. It depends on. I'm sure the Rams, when they were playing the Bills, they liked a certain matchup. They went with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's a hot hand, but I think more often than not, that you're going to see a back and forth. As far as those backfields go, though, Damian Harris got hurt. I haven't seen the update on how bad he's hurt. He's part of another one of those 1-2 punches in New England, which is not a great offense. But if one of those guys, the other one being Ramondre Stevenson, if Harris is out, Ramondre Stevenson's value goes way up on a weekly basis because of the just sheer volume that you're going to see in that backfield where he was getting like kind of split carries. We're going to do a quick injury report. Trey Lance, done for the season. It sucks to see that. Interesting that the Niners never got rid of Jimmy G, right? They were just, it was a weird situation. It was almost didn't make sense that they didn't get rid of him. And now they're just so glad that they have him. Do you think the Niners are better with him this year than they would have been with Trey Lance?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I love Jimmy G. I think he's handsome as fuck, and he's an extra great quarterback.
I wouldn't say he's a great quarterback. He is great looking. He's a good quarterback, and he's great on that team. He knows how to run that offense.
I think San Fran is his city, and he should be quarterback till he dies. I mean that shit.
Until he dies. Come on, let's not put it that way. What do you think, Lonnie? You feeling?
I mean, listen, Jimmy G took them to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like Jimmy G last year took them to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, almost won it. I should have maybe won it.
They have this. San Francisco has a bad tendency of kind of jumping the gun on these people a little bit early. Famously, Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick. Now, Colin Kaepernick ended up taking that team to the Super Bowl. Colin Kaepernick was obviously the better quarterback,
right?
But I believe they were 11-1 when they went away from Alex Smith, and everyone was kind of like, "What are you guys doing here?"
Yeah. Alex Smith was pretty underwhelming, though. He was a winner, like Jimmy G, but like underwhelming from a talent win you the ball game standpoint.
But you're seeing the same thing, right? You see a quarterback who is consistent. You got a good team. Listen, I will argue this up and down. We've had this conversation before. You do not need a top 5 quarterback to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
You do not need that in the NFL. What you need is a top 5 team, and you need to be healthy.
Yeah.
Right. Eli Manning was never a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. He won 2 Super Bowls.
The worst.
Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl.
Yep.
Flacco. Jimmy G can win you the Super Bowl.
Sure.
You just gotta get him there.
He almost did.
Yeah, he almost did. And he very well could have last year. If a couple of things break differently, they could have won it last year with him. So yeah, I like it. I'm glad he's getting one more year at least at the helm of the Niners. It's gonna be good.
San Francisco just needs to appreciate Jimmy G and stop like looking for better. Like you have a god there. Appreciate him.
Yeah. Imagine if they had spent that draft capital on someone else, and just we're like, we're gonna ride Jimmy G and we're gonna load up on talent at the top of this draft. They traded away a lot to get Trey Lance. We'll see if that pays off. But imagine if they had those draft, like I'd be very interested to see who was getting drafted around that time on that, like who they could have had. They could have had Micah Parsons, right? Wasn't that the same draft as Trey Lance? Yeah. So imagine you throw Micah Parsons on that defense. Holy shit. I mean, are you kidding me? The list of guys they could have had.
And that definitely is a fucking offense. I mean, a defense that Jimmy can't mess up. Like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking Jimmy G, give us 15 points. We'll win every game if you have Micah Parsons to that team right now. Scary. So yeah, it is. You're right. You don't need a top 5 quarterback. You need a quarterback that's not getting paid in the top 5. That's what you need. That's historically
that's how Brady did it, right? Taking the pay cuts.
Yep.
That's how you do. And he was a top 5 guy.
And he always has
paid like a 20. Like
yeah, he was getting paid in the middle. Russ, Pat Mahomes, you see those guys get paid now. We'll see. Lamar's right there. Lamar's got a window right
now. No, Lamar was showing out like he should get paid.
He should get
paid. He didn't lose that game. That defense did. I felt
Lamar
bad for him, dude. He was stunting out, dude.
He was. Lamar looks good this year. He's gonna make
it's his contract year. Of course he's gonna look good. You had to know that was gonna happen.
Of course, yeah. I think they're talking about he might get franchised again next year and just like whatever. Play on the franchise tag again. He'll make bank next year if he gets franchised again. All right, we got to get through injuries and then our picks, and then this game starts really soon. So Trey Lance done for the year. Damian Harris out. Jerry Jeudy got hurt, went out of that game, didn't come back. I don't know if didn't look too serious, but hopefully he'll be back soon. James Conner went out, left the game, didn't come back. Dalton Schultz, tight end for the Cowboys, who I think we were talking about last week. Somebody was asking us about Schultz. So that's a bummer. Lonnie asked a quick question. So now we're getting to waivers. We'll do our waiver picks, the recommendations. He was asking about the bidding. If this is your first year in a bidding system for free agent, they call it free agent auction, which we are doing for our first time in our league this year. The way it works is you put in a waiver, like it's like you pick a guy for waivers like you normally would, and then it's going to ask you how much money you want to bid on them. So basically everybody has a chance at bidding on every player that's available. It's just how much money do you want to spend? You only have $100 for the whole year. That's your entire budget. You can bid $0 or you can bid $100 up to the max, whatever you got. The way it works is it's still the same system essentially. Like if you and I both bid $0, but I'm higher on the waiver order, I'm going to get that guy. But if I bid 0 and you bid $1, you're going to get that guy because you're willing to pay for him. But
I can't see what you bid.
No, it's a blind.
And let me ask you a question. If I bid 50 and you bid 50, but you're higher on the waiver wire, do I lose that 50?
No. You only spend the money
when you
get
the
player.
player.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
I think that's how the NFL works, right? Isn't that how the waiver wire in the NFL works a little bit?
No, I think waiver wire in the NFL, it just goes straight down
like the way it normally does with us. It's
by standings, by weekly standings. But that's if a guy clears waivers, or if that's how the waivers work. So yeah, if you want to pick, if we cut a guy, if somebody cuts a guy, it goes
go
down
through
the
the
line.
waivers, then clear it.
But if you pick them up, you have to pay their contract in the NFL. That's how waivers work. It's like, oh, do we like this guy with his contract? Or are we going to wait and see if he clears waivers and then offer him less money? So that's where you see guys get picked up off waivers. It's like another team, they still have value for them. All right, before we do waivers, we got a write-in question. Cameron B, hey guys. Let's see. Don't want to waste your time. Curious if you are open to fantasy league roster questions. That's what we're here for, man. Thank you for watching us live. Go ahead, shoot, Cameron. Hit us with your roster questions. While you're working on that, we're going to go through a list of waivers for this week. Top of the list has got to be Tua, right? I mean, he's not available in every league, but because I picked him up in our league for $0.
You should trade him to me because you don't deserve him. Honestly.
We'll talk. We could talk maybe. I don't know. I might use him. I got Jalen Hurts, and Hurts can get hurt. So I like having Tua.
He was healthy last year.
He was healthy last year. Yeah, that's true. But I really like having Tua on my roster, especially my first bye week is Jalen Hurts, which is like week 7. So it's coming up pretty quick. I'm not looking to bail on Tua just yet. Okay, Cameron B, let's hit us with a quick question. I'm a 16 teams. Jesus Christ, that's a lot of teams. Full PPR league. How do you guys even do fucking playoffs? Full PPR league. Can you please tell me if I should be looking to improve my roster? First of all, the answer is yes. You should always be looking to improve your roster. Doesn't matter who you have on your team. Always be looking to improve your roster. He's got Burrow, CMC, Saquon, AJ Brown, Amari Cooper, Dawson Knox, Eagles D, Dustin Hopkins, Daniel Jones, Kareem Hunt, Brandon Ayuk, Naeem Hines, Rondell Moore, Njoku, Hamler, and Madison. Say the only place you're kind of weak is tight end. That would be my goal if I were you. And you got some pieces on the bench that you can move, and Hunt and Ayuk. Hines also. 4 teams make the playoffs. I'd say you're in pretty good shape, man. It's a nice looking team for a 16-team league. Any other ideas, guys, on holes on that team? You might be able to upgrade wide receiver, but Amari Cooper and AJ Brown are pretty good.
I don't know what's available at tight end. You said that?
Yeah, tight end. He has Dawson Knox and Njoku. I might look to move some guys for a tight end. That's about it. You might be able to upgrade at wide receiver, but you're thin at wide receiver. Am I comfortable rolling with Amari Cooper? The thing is, you're so top heavy at running back. Yeah, I don't know.
Your running backs are good, but yeah, you could trade maybe to get spread that out. But I don't know. I would keep the running backs. I like them.
I like where your running backs are at. Am I comfortable with Amari Cooper as your number 2? Lonnie, you got Amari Cooper as your number 2. You comfortable with him at number 2?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the clear number 1 on an offense that's only going to get better throughout the course of the year. So
yeah. He's a great route runner, which is really quarterback friendly, no matter who the quarterback is. He's had great years with not great quarterback play. In previous, like when Derek Carr was younger, he was still good. He gets open. Yeah, I say try to upgrade your tight end before you try to upgrade Amari Cooper. That's my feeling on that roster. All right, we got to get going because we got to get this done. Waivers. I'm going to go through the list real quick. Quarterbacks, besides Tua, if he's still available, get Tua. Carson Wentz, okay. Jared Goff. I like Jared Goff. He might be the number 1 waiver pickup quarterback-wise to replace Trey Lance. I like Goff more than I like Jimmy G from a fantasy standpoint. I think he's got a better team around him, and I think he's comfortable in that offense. I think Goff's going to have a pretty good year. Marcus Mariota, just because he runs, also has been okay from a fantasy standpoint. Raheem Mostert's going to be a big pickup if he's available in your league. He's probably not available in most leagues, but definitely pick up Raheem Mostert. Cardinals, monitor that situation. Their running backs, Eno Benjamin and Darrell Williams, will be serving as their running backs in the event that James Conner is out for an extended period of time. Tyler Algier, the rookie running back for the Falcons, had just as many touches, I want to say, as Cordero Patterson last week. So he is somebody in there. If Garrett Wilson's still available in your league, my God, go get Garrett Wilson. Jesus. Cameron B, thank you. You're welcome. Thank you for watching. We're here every Monday night. We're here for you. You can also watch us and follow us on all the platforms and stuff. We'll let you know. Nelson Aguilar, Greg Dortch, Curtis Samuel, also good names at wide receiver. Tight ends, still a lot of 0s and 1s this week at tight end. Logan Thomas had a pretty good. Logan Thomas is a number 1 tight end. We talked about this last week. Look at it for a clear number 1. Logan Thomas is a clear number 1. Evan Ingram is a clear number 1. He had like 7 catches on 8 targets. 8 targets for your tight end. Evan Ingram. Hayden Hurst, if he's still available. Clear number 1 tight end in Cincinnati. Those guys are good. All right, real quick. What do we need for tonight? Guys, what do you need for tonight? I know you're playing each other. Vital, what do you need to beat Lonnie tonight?
Also,
a miracle.
This isn't impossible, but I need 60 points from 3 players.
Who are those 3 players?
You need 80 points.
80? Oh, what's this?
I believe it's from 2.
80. No, it's 3. Yeah, I do need 80. All right.
Who are the players?
It's Buffalo D, Adam Thielen, and then maybe Josh Allen. So we'll see. I don't know.
Josh Allen is one of those guys. Dude, the Buffalo
But I'm kind of
D,
robbing points for myself with Adam Thielen and the Buffalo defense.
Maybe. But if Thielen gets a ton of catches but doesn't score any touchdowns, right? A lot of catches, PPR.
Some interceptions from the defense that don't affect Thielen. It just really pad it, sacks,
right.
forced
And
fumbles.
you need Josh Allen to rush for a couple and pass for a couple. It's not impossible, but it's impossible.
I have a 3% chance, and I think that's accurate. That's exactly how I feel.
I have, again, one of the highest scoring teams in our league this week, and I'm projected right now to lose. I need also a shitload of points, but I have a ton of players left. I have Jalen Hurts. I need him to have a huge game. I got both Eagles receivers, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Need both of them to ball out. Basically, I need the Eagles to score big time tonight. And it's going to be a shootout, I think. So that could happen. And then I need Dalvin Cook to go off. I think that's everybody I've got. Oh, and I also have Bass, the kicker for the Bills. So a huge field goal night for the Bills, and then a wild shootout between the Eagles and the Vikings. And I could end up with the highest scoring team and a win. But as of right now, I'm going to be probably one of the highest scoring teams at 0-2. So what do you think? I know I should have started Tua. Well, we'll see. We'll see how Hurts does, but at least I have Tua going forward. I feel good about my team going forward. I'm high scoring, 0-2. That's all right. Who do you guys like tonight? Bills, Titans. Call it.
Bills.
All right. Now the real tricky one. Eagles, Vikings. Who you like in this one?
Eagles.
Vikings.
You got Vikings. You got Eagles. Vital said Vikings. Lonnie, Eagles. I think I like the Eagles in this one. I think it's going to be a real shootout. I think it's going to be a fun game, exciting game, a lot of offense, but I think the Eagles have just a little bit more firepower. And I like their quarterback play a little bit more in this one. All right, so we got DraftKings. We're playing both these games in DraftKings. Who's your quarterback? We're not doing captains, obviously, because we're playing both games. Who you guys got picked for quarterback? Lonnie?
I believe I've got Josh, but let's see.
I picked Josh Allen.
I picked Josh Allen.
I have Josh Allen.
We're all on Josh Allen again. Okay, so quarterback means nothing. Perfect. Well, it's going to be all the skill
It's
positions.
just preventative at this point.
I almost went with Hurts, but I was able to crunch the numbers and stick with Allen. I think Hurts could potentially be the guy, but yeah, it's hard not to go with Allen. All right, we're going to sign off. This game's about to start. Everybody who watches and listens, thank you so much for watching and listening. You can watch us live every Monday evening before the game starts on our YouTube channel. You can also listen to us. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and a plethora of other downloadable listening sites. And you can follow us just for fun clips on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Do you guys have any comedy shows you got to plug for this week coming up?
No. But
Nothing.
follow me on
On
Instagram.
Sunday.
How who?
Where are you, Lonnie, on Sunday?
Red light.
Red Light at Monroe's in West Palm Beach. That's a late show on Sunday night. Nice. That'd be fun. And Vital, what did you say? Did you have anything coming up this weekend?
Nothing coming up, but follow me on Instagram.
You can follow all of us on Instagram at Nick Masick, at Vital the Juice, or at Vital Who, right? On Instagram. Yeah. And Lonnie, if you go to at Fantasy TE on Instagram, we're all on that profile. You'll find us. So if you can find us on Instagram at Fantasy TE, you can find all of us and follow us individually for our comedy shows and stuff. All right. It's been good. I'll see you guys next week, and enjoy the games. It's about to start. Let's go.